FloridaFishyFinger. We're going to look at what needs to go in your waterproof box on your boat so that you're prepared for what can happen on a fishing trip or on a boating trip. You know, what are the bare minimums? So, hey, everything in this video that I'm going to talk about is also in the link if you want to go grab it. It supports the channel. But let's get to it. This is what I've learned after 25, 30 years of going out on boats. First of all, fishing regulations. What are my sizes? Wow, look at that. I can only keep a certain kind of silver striped mullet or whatever. Another thing is maybe some maps, if you're into that kind of thing. I have some maps and they've never come in useful. This map especially. So you know what I'm deciding right now? Maybe I take these maps out. No, I'll keep them. What the heck. But this is really important. So, you know, those maps take up no room. First aid kit. I almost had my finger bitten off by a bluefish. That's a story. Maybe I'll make a video like that one day. But it happened. The sucker jumped up off the deck of this boat here and bit my finger, and I had about 6 stitches in that finger to get it back together, and it wasn't cool. That sucked. I had nothing but a towel and nothing to disinfect it with. I'm lucky I didn't get staph. So I learned from it and I adapted, and now I have, oh, look at that, a spray bottle. What was it, like $2, $3 to get a spray bottle of hydrogen peroxide? You know, I've used it already since that happened. And, you know, with other minor injuries, but, you know, you get stabbed by a gross hook covered in gross bacteria-ridden bait, well, spray a little hydrogen peroxide on it after you rinse it out. If you have this, you can do that. If you don't, you're like, wrap a towel on it, wash it in some water. Yeah, there's bacteria in the river water, too. All right, so anyway, you got to have some first aid. That's almost the minimum, except for, you know, first aid can get really bad, and that's when you need a tourniquet or a tight bandage wrap, and this will serve as both. If you need the tourniquet for sure, you want to have something like this, double it up and then use it. But we don't want anybody bleeding to death, and we got sharp things out there. We got propellers, and be ready for that. Backup pair of pliers. I always have them. You know, these work also on the old engine for certain things also, but you got to have some tools, some basic tools. I've got you know, this in here, which is a part of the engine I know always gets a little loose. It's this handle. There's a nut down in here that I got to, it can get loose, and if you're 20 miles away from home and this thing starts to get loose, well, you just tighten it up. And it only every once in a while does it need to be tightened up. You know, every 30 boat missions, 50 maybe. But when it does, you're glad you had this, and it weighs almost nothing. Sunscreen. Gotta have sunscreen. If you're in Florida, I mean, it's not an option to go out there all day long without sunscreen and covering yourself up, or else you're just gonna get cooked. So I have just some face stuff and some regular body stuff that there's all the kind of stuff that you need typically to just meet the safety regulations of your area, and I'm not trying to tell you what you need. You need to look in that area. You need to look to see what the regulations, the laws are. But in Florida, we got a sound producing device. I got this. You could have a whistle. I've got a whistle also. That's why I got the Coast Guard seal of approval sticker when they came and inspected us. They actually did, and I got the seal of approval, which I thought was pretty cool. Where is that thing? Maybe I have it here. I thought I'd show it to them at some point in the future if they ever got pulled again. Yeah, here it is. I found it. And why do you watch this video? Well, you're watching somebody who has passed the vessel safety check from the Coast Guard. Yeah, and also Florida Fish and Game and Wildlife. Now this is important. What if your engine, what if you run out of battery power? Well, this isn't actually intended for that, but to be able to pull start your engine. Now there's typically one in there as well, a manual pull start thing that you can wrap around the top of the engine and pull it to start it. Boy, you don't need that until you do, and when you do, you're so happy you've had it. Save me a bunch of times. Yeah, so that's what that is. Oh yeah, no, this is for that. I think this is for that as well, this rope. But anyway, I always carry a little extra rope in here. This is from an old anchor pole that I had. It's just heavy-duty marine rope. Sure enough, you never know when you're going to need rope. I also have this. Backup. These are from my old John boat, but I keep them in here. These are backup lights. If your lights go out, like last time I went out boating, this light had just blown. I didn't have a spare. That's the other thing to keep in here. I've actually got them in my truck. I'm going to add them, which is spare lights. But if you got these, you know, and I did, when that light went out, I just said, oh, okay, and just put this, just hold this up, you know, and you got a light. So that's important. Now, I got spark plugs and things here too to do a little bit more down into the engine. If you ever have to take the prop off, I'm prepared to do that. If I need to, you know, deal with that to some extent. So all those kinds of things are in there. Now, this is another thing, which is a ability to have a powerful light. Powerful light. Now, this one, I'm going to have to look inside to see that it's on. It's so bright out I can't tell. Okay, yeah, so it has a bunch of different types of light. I like this one. This one is the, well, I'll put a link to the description, the Atwood. Got it years ago. It comes with other hardware on it, but I like it so much just like this because you just kind of hold it, you know, and anyway, so it's cool on the beach too because in Florida they require you to have special colored lights for the sea turtles. And anyway, so yeah, that's that, you know, ultraviolet light, I guess. I don't know. No, it's not ultraviolet. You couldn't see it. Blue light. Red light, that's the stuff you're allowed to show on the beach at night. I think both the blue and the red you're allowed to show on the beach at night. And then just to be able to blast you with a spotlight, which is, you know, important. That, you know, having light in the boat when you need it is important, and that's why I always keep that there. So there you go. For not that much money, how much do you think it would cost to get all of these things? You know, I don't think it costs that much. And I've always carry it with me. I never take this out of the boat. Every once in a while you should inspect it. Now, some of the other things are, I've also got a ditch bag. Now that's super important too, especially if you're going into a place that is like the ocean. So if you're doing that, then you want to have a ditch bag. And I got this one. I'll leave a link to a good ditch bag. But it also has in it an EPIRB. And the EPIRB is very important. You press that, the Coast Guard's coming. You never want to press that if you don't actually need the Coast Guard. But this EPIRB is in there. I'll leave a link to the EPIRB I use, but it's an automatic distress beacon, and they'll come and get you. So, you know, flip the boat over in the Gulf Stream, drifting out fast. Have the EPIRB. Another thing, the old flares. Got to have the flares if you're going in certain environments. In Florida, if you're going offshore, you got to have them. I always bring them. In this case, if I'm in the ocean, I bring a whole lot of rope. I bring binoculars and some other essential items, which I'll list in the description. But the point is, this bag is a ditch bag because it's made to be ditched. And I'll show you how I arrange it. You don't want to wrap your ditch bag in a thing, or in my opinion, have it in a closed environment where you can't ditch it easily, because the idea is the boat's capsizing, in my opinion. What do we do? And that can happen. Boats capsize. Almost capsized 1 year ago myself, 20 years ago. But look at how I just hang this over. Now I actually I don't hang it exactly like that. I'll put it right on the side so it doesn't block any of the panel. But the point is, if the boat starts to go, I can grab it, strip it. It's going to strip right over top of these rounded rails, and it's going in the water with me. Now I have a way to live. And one of the upgrade things I'm going to get, I'll put a video on this because I've been researching it, which is a handheld VHF radio, and also potentially a radio that I can just temporarily mount, you know, an antenna up to a, you know, like a collapsible antenna. I don't want to have it on this boat all the time. I want to be able to take it off and only have it as safety equipment when needed. I mean, let's face it, to have a offshore distress capability on a 16-foot micro skiff is kind of weird to start with, but that's what we do. So yeah, that's what you need on a boat. Hey, if you like these kinds of videos, then go ahead and subscribe to Florida FishyFinger. We do lots of other cool stuff besides just talk about micro skiffs, but I think you'd enjoy to be part of it. So go ahead and subscribe, and then click the notification bell so that you're notified as new videos come out. I appreciate you watching. Take a look in the description. Let's get some tight lines.